The National Football League has a very serious problem. No, it's not their television ratings. NFL once again dominating television with the early window on CBS and Fox drawing 20 million viewers. I've even seen some late window games drawing almost 25 million. Problem I'm referring to, it has nothing to do with Taylor Swift. Thankfully, Tay-Tay was not in attendance yesterday afternoon when the Chiefs beat the Vikings. I would imagine that she was off somewhere entertaining a stadium full of Swiffers. We used to call them teenage girls. Today they choose to identify as Swiffers. And why the hell not? I mean, everyone else seems to be choosing their identity. We have grown men going to see Dr. Proctor asking for boodle injections so they can have a big caboose like Kim Kardashian. We have young women looking up to great role models like Megan Rapinoe and the anonymous dump divers in the WNBA. I saw pictures of the crowd in Megan Rapinoe's final pretend soccer game. I think this was part 3 in the exciting series of the final games of the prepubescent boy. I see all these impressionable young women in the crowd, emulating the Megster by wearing these wigs that featured every single color of the rainbow. It was so inclusive. Pink wigs, blue wigs, purple wigs. Hell, it looked like they raided Joy Reid's closet. I even saw this one girl wearing a fake beard. Someone asked her, "Are you trying to look like ZZ Top?" She said, "No, I want to be like Bob Griner in the WNBA." Instead of young women aspiring to be doctors and lawyers, or maybe even mothers, we have young women trying to be garbage men in the WNBA dump. But anyway, NFL doesn't have a ratings problem. They don't have a Swiffer problem. League doesn't have an officiating problem, although I'm sure some of you guys would disagree with that last statement. But if you think officiating in the NFL is bad, go watch the NBA. I promise you, it's far worse. The problem in the NFL, it's not a problem that can be fixed, at least not immediately. Right now, the NFL's got a serious problem at the most important position in the league, quarterback. I'm 38 years old, been watching the NFL since the 1990s, which seems like a long time to me, but I'm sure some of you guys have been watching this league for 40 or 50 years. In my lifetime, I cannot remember a time when the level of play at the quarterback position in this league has been this bad. My God, a large portion of these games, they're becoming unwatchable. I love this league. I look forward to NFL Sunday. I haven't missed 7 hours of commercial-free football on NFL Red Zone since it premiered back in 2009. There's actually been times where I have pissed off my own family because they planned something on a Sunday afternoon. Maybe it was a wedding for a distant cousin, birthday party, family get-together, whatever the fuck. I refuse to go because I watch the NFL on Sundays. Now, as I've grown up, I'm not too bad with it. Even though I don't like it, if there's something important in the family going on a Sunday, I will sacrifice one NFL Sunday. But when I was in my 20s and early 30s, forget about it. We are 5 weeks into the NFL season. I gotta be honest with you. I find myself bored watching some of these games on NFL Red Zone. Up until last year, this has never happened before. The past 3 weeks, the Saints, they have put me to sleep. Yesterday, it wasn't even their fault. My team's up 21-0, and I'm scrolling through Twitter during the game trying to find something to entertain me. Why? Because I knew the Patriots weren't capable of coming back. I knew the Patriots weren't capable of making it a close game. Hell, the game was over in the second quarter. Ravens-Steelers, they were one of the only close games in the early window yesterday. When my Saints are playing, I have my main TV in the living room on the Saints game and my other TV on Red Zone. That game between the Ravens and Steelers, it was close, but it was boring as fuck. Neither offense could move the ball down the field. If it wasn't a 3 and out, they were turning the ball over. Now, normally, turnovers, that would be cause for excitement, but that excitement, it quickly fades away when you realize that neither offense can capitalize on the turnovers. I knew there was going to be a serious void at quarterback when all the legends retired. For the past 15 or 20, 25 years, we have watched the greatest group of quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. Manning, Breeze, Brady, Big Ben, Aaron Rodgers. You go back to the 90s, you had John Elway, Dan Marino, Troy Aikman. Even the guys that we thought were bums back then, those guys would be considered elite in today's NFL. I'm talking about the mediocre guys from back then, guys like Tony Romo, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, Joe Flacco. You know why we thought they were so bad? Because we were comparing them to greatness. We were comparing them to Breeze and Brady and Manning. Tony Romo, he would be a top 3 quarterback in today's NFL. Just look at Matt Stafford. For the majority of his career, Matt Stafford was a bum. He was captain of the bum squad. They surrounded him with talent when he was in Detroit. This dude had fucking Megatron, couldn't make the playoffs. He had Reggie Bush in the final years of his prime. They couldn't win. Look at what happened once all the legends retired from the league. Matt Stafford goes out and he wins the Super Bowl. Right now, there is one elite quarterback in the NFL. There is one guy who would have been able to compete against the Mannings, the Bradys, and the Breezes. Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the only quarterback today in this league that consistently plays at an elite level. With the rest of them, you just don't know what the hell you're going to get. I keep waiting for Josh Allen to cement himself. It hasn't happened. Justin Herbert, he shows flashes of greatness sometimes. I like Joe Burrow. Matter of fact, if Joe Burrow had an offensive line, I think he would be on the same level as Patrick Mahomes. But outside of those two, the quarterback play in this league is consistently mediocre or consistently bad. And what happens when you have mediocrity at the quarterback position? It makes these games painfully boring. It makes them hard to watch. There were several weeks last season where I turned the NFL off to watch a regular season Pelicans game on a Sunday afternoon. That would have never happened 3 or 4 years ago. 3, 4, 5 years ago, I wouldn't pay attention to the NBA until after NFL season was over. Today, I am patiently waiting for the NBA to return, so I've got something to look forward to. I have never been a football coach. I don't know the X's and O's. I'm not a guy that can break down defenses. I can't tell you the scheme that Bill Belichick was running yesterday that made the Saints offense look like a well-oiled machine when they have looked like a rusted Dodge Dart all season. But there has got to be an explanation as to why the level of play at the quarterback position has declined this dramatically. Now, this is just my own personal theory. This is coming from someone who watches every week but doesn't know shit about the schematics of the game. But I'm just wondering if these coaches building their systems around running quarterbacks, I'm wondering if that is the reason for this dramatic decline at the quarterback position. Well, Casey, that's so racist. You just don't want to see black quarterbacks succeed. Shut the fuck up. Josh Allen is a running quarterback. He's wider than my ass. Patrick Mahomes, he can run, but he's also dangerous in the passing game. This has absolutely nothing to do with race and everything to do with the product on the field. Guys like Peyton Manning and Drew Brees, they struggled their first few years in the NFL. I think Peyton Manning was 3-13 in his first season, didn't win a playoff game until his 5th or 6th year in the league. Drew Brees, he struggled in San Diego. Neither one of them had the option to fall back on their legs. They didn't have the option to run the football. So what did they have to do? They had to become better pocket passers. Translation, they had to learn how to play quarterback at the NFL level. Over the last decade or so, we have seen more and more of these run-first quarterbacks. Their first read isn't open, run the ball. Pressure in the pocket, run the ball. What's ended up happening, they are not learning how to become better passers. And we've seen how this ends. We have seen what happens when a running quarterback loses his legs and doesn't have the ability to pass the ball from the pocket. Just look at what happened to Michael Vick. Michael Vick was very entertaining to watch in his prime. I will never forget that overtime game, I think it was in Minnesota, where he was flushed out, ended up breaking 3 or 4 tackles, ran 40 or 50 yards to win the game. What happened as soon as he lost his legs? What happened as soon as Michael Vick reached his late 20s, early 30s? Michael Vick was unplayable. Same thing happened with Cam Newton. When he was in Carolina, Ron Rivera, he used to beg Cam Newton to work out of the pocket. He used to beg him to stay out of practice and work on his game. Cam Newton refused to do so. At the time, he was the most valuable player in the league. Panthers had just went to the Super Bowl. Why work on your passing game when what you're doing is already working, right? What's that old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? Well, the thing is, Ron Rivera, he knew that eventually it would be broke. How many 30-year-old quarterbacks do you see consistently running the football? Hell, how many 30-year-old running backs do you see running the football? Ron Rivera knew that eventually age or injuries would catch up to Cam Newton and he would have to rely on his ability to throw the ball out of the pocket. An ability that he never developed, which is why Cam Newton was out of the league at 32 years old. The mediocre play at the quarterback position, it hadn't caught up to the NFL just yet. And you know what? It might not ever catch up to him. This league seems to be immune to declining ratings. And look, I'm not saying that all these games are boring. There have been some great games this season, but overall, I have been disappointed with the NFL going all the way back to last year. There's just far too many blowouts. The league doesn't seem to be competitively balanced. On paper, the Cowboys and Niners, they seem to be pretty evenly matched. And look at what happened last night. What was the difference in that game? One team has a pocket passer, the other team has dedicated themselves to an illusion of a pocket passer. Dak Prescott, he is the ultimate illusion. He looks like a Pro Bowler until it actually matters. Dak Prescott, he would not be a starter in this league 10 years ago. Neither would guys like Zach Wilson, Kenny Pickett, Justin Fields, Daniel Jones. He wouldn't make the practice squad. He would be captain of the bum squad. The level of quarterback play in this league, it is so bad. Guys like Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins, they are given hundreds of millions of dollars. I know it's the hardest position to fill in all of sports. I know it's hard to find a franchise quarterback. Hell, the Chicago Bears, they have been looking for a franchise quarterback for their entire existence. The Miami Dolphins, they have been trying to replace Dan Marino for decades. The Cowboys, they have never been able to replace Troy Aikman. I know elite quarterbacks are hard to find. I just can't remember another time when there's only been one consistently elite quarterback in this league. Maybe it's just me. I've been wanting to talk about this since last year, and I know I've mentioned it a couple of times, but I just wanted to give it some time to see if things improved, but they haven't. They're not. Am I the only one that is seeing this? Have you ever seen this much mediocrity at the quarterback position in the NFL? Why do you think we're seeing this? More importantly, if this continues, do you think it could start to impact their ratings? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. I appreciate you guys and your support. Follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84, and I will see you guys tomorrow.